Welcome to part 7 of episode 6 in Tablet Talks. I'm your host, Tehuti. Welcome to part 7 of episode 6 in Tablet Talks. Tablet Talks. Welcome to episode 6. This is part 7 of Tablet Talks. I am your boy, Tehuti Trismegistus. Yes, bro, we're coming in with some energy. All right, my phone just cut out because I got a call. People want to call me. People want to call Chase away. I guess that's why it's my last name. But I'm trying to get this wisdom out for us because too many people have been reading my tablets and being lied to. And this is the whole point of why I am in this body doing this series of tablet talks where we are decoding, we are decolonizing, and we are deciphering all the light supremacist lies that have people attaching to source and detaching from themselves. Because I would never tell you ever that you need something outside of yourself to be infinite. You need to know that you are an infinite nothing spirit. You are zero. Only from zero can you be a one. Can you be an ego? Can you be your true desire? Can you be anything you want to be? Just your full imagination. But if you're just stuck in imagination mode and this limited awareness that you have. Okay, honestly, I low-key might be getting attacked because now there's like this huge sound out. This leave bro, whatever. I hope you can't hear that. Victim mode is comedy, bro. See, this is the balance. This is why I'm symmetry. Because look, Thoth can be toxically in that idea of everyone's creating life. So that's where like when I'm in my Thoth Tehuti energy of just like being so spiritual that I'm just like, okay, all spirits are creating their lives. So forget everybody. Then I don't really have empathy. And like that's the point of balance. That's the point of coming down and realizing that although people do create their own problems, they don't really feel like it. And then as we see, spirits who have lower awarenesses can have their minds hijacked so that they're creating life for someone else. And so then that's where we get the real spiritual warfare. Like I can get two in my separate bag, too masculine, to almost just fiery, masculine, separate thought, light energy of like everyone's creating life. So I can't feel bad for you because like if you're having a bad time, if you're being manipulated by people, if you're enslaved, you created that for yourself and I don't need to interact with you. And that would be the idea of me never making a body to come down here in hell. But then I would never be Hermanubis. I would never actually be the guider of souls through the underworld like I'm meant to be. That's the point of symmetry. That's the point of me stepping down from Thoth and getting into balance, knowing that although we do create life, a lot of spirits, especially children-like spirits, have their ability to create life colonized by spirits who desire to consume them. So those are the child, pedophile, indigenous women and baby harvesting Illuminati, Freemasonic, white light supremacist entities that I have a problem with. That I created a body to then address in this realm. That's my communication. Those are the people that I'm really concerned about talking to and getting the truth pumping way more. All right, because these light white supremacists rely on making everyone else support the genocide of indigenous children and just a genocide of children in general by lying to them. And lies only reign when people are too scared, too weak to say the truth. And this is what white supremacy has relied on. So this is why white supremacy is happy colonizing, stealing everything that my soul group and I did in Egypt and Atlantis, and just colonizing all of our ideas about the past. That's the point of why we think we're in year 2021, which is wild. But the whole point of being in 2021 is that Jesus reset time. The Roman government sacrificing Jesus reset time so that we can all live underneath the cross. And we can all sacrifice our own Jesus. We can all sacrifice our own individuality to that same exact government. So, very important to not get lost. Very important to have empathy. All right. Thoth has empathy. I mean, Thoth is literally God of the moon. Like, it's always about to be wisdom, and the wisdom that everything is connected based on how you connect with yourself. It's just that from there, how much do we extend ourselves to help others? You know, a Virgo is all about serving. So again, Thoth is all about serving. But Thoth is all about that Spider-Man, I have the power to help, so I have to. I'm not happy in my alone space if I know that the all one space is getting ruled horribly and atrocities are going on, people are suffering, spirits are just getting colonized left and right. Because that's what it's coming down to. That's what it's always about. Mind control. Making spirits create ideas and fuel ideas that do not serve them or the collective. But they're only motivated to do it out of all the logic of what they believe based in like how they think it will serve the collective. So that's the point of logic. That's the point of spirits with higher awarenesses, light supremacists, using light to twist all these lies that make spirits lie down and go to sleep. Just rocking them to sleep with the lies, the light lies. Lie down in your lies of light. Boom. Now life is comfortable. So they've colonized comfort, as we can see, especially here with America and how America is spread across the entire planet called Earth. People are obsessed with being comfortable, and that's where the entities who can provide that comfort colonize them. Boom. Chapter 15. The difference between holding and sharing from the heart. From Tablet 3, verse 15. In the original translation from the Atlantean language, Thoth said, that which goeth into the storehouse must come forth, and the things that are thine must be shared with a friend. Thoth's commentary in modern English. What you put away for a rainy day will wither and mold, if not used when need arises. It is far better to share what you have with those in need than to hoard it all for yourself. This sounds like something I would have taught the people who wrote the Bible, and now all these Christians weaponize that idea. They're like, oh, Jesus says that everyone's Jesus and we need to let them all in. Let's go enslave people with this idea and make them believe in Jesus and how they need to also be forgiving. And then we'll make the people that we enslave believe in Jesus so that they can be manipulated into forgiving us, making them do things that are not good for them. Logic, all right? So it takes communication, and it takes all of us as spirits with all of our infinite individuality and all of our own awareness to actually care enough to communicate about these things, to communicate about the sea. It's all this sea stuff. Hoarding is an emotional state. And yeah, I mean, this is white supremacists in general. The idea of keeping things for yourself. Black people being the emotion, everything is created out of emotion. Everything is created out of the dark, infinite cosmos of water. Water is life. So that's where black people are giving, because they just create life. They're about that. White people are about taking. They're about colonizing life. They're consuming life. taking, colonizing, consuming. They're so metallic, this all then means that they steal life. So with this metallic logic, white people steal. They use their resources to take fire into earth and create metal that allows them to steal the life of other individuals. So hoarding is to steal the life of other individuals because you're in that state yourself, because that's how white people feel, where they're like, oh, we are so focused on murdering others, we can only perceive that others want to murder us. And then that's just where, even though they obviously don't, like, the only reason Europeans survived in North and South and Central America is because indigenous peoples consistently welcomed them and helped them. But it was easy for murderous European peoples to create the logic that these people are going to do the same thing that they want to do, because you're already in that state. So if you want to murder someone, then no matter how nice they are to you, it's easy for you to be like, I need to kill them before they kill me. And no matter how many gifts they give you, you can easily convince yourself to be in a logical state of, they're only giving me these gifts because they want to kill me. And it's like, no, that's you making treaties with Native Americans, you European man. Literally, like, it's wild. But this is projection being perception, and like how the wrap up happens. And it's just a loop then. So yeah, hoarding being that emotional state is about scarcity. And this just comes from the colonizing spirit who doesn't feel like they're creating life. So they are creating life no matter what. It's just their way of creating life then is to consume the life of others who are more consciously creating life. If you allow the energy of hoarding to overtake your life, you will find yourself in an unhappy state. You may begin to hoard time, relationships, and even energy. Be wary of the sneaky darkness. If you see your brother in need, take that which you have put aside and share it with him. Always follow your guidance on this. There are some who are in need as part of their life lesson and must come to their own understanding. And that's why I'm saying, as Thoth, everyone creates their own suffering. As a spirit, when you know from pure desirelessness that everyone is creating life, then it's really easy to get into a spiritual ego masculine bag of like, all right, well, I'm above everybody because I create life in a way that they wish they could. And they tell me this. And then it's like, you can easily get into that bag, like, of listening to people. This is why I don't care about if people say almost like positive things or negative things about me. Like, it's me listening to people sort of talk about themselves and their desires. But if the moment you start to get wrapped up in like people's opinions of you, you're actually limited by the world that you're in. So even if it feels good, like other people's opinions of you right now feel good, the moment they feel bad, it's all a representation of you being limited, you being attached to the world that you're in, instead of you actually loving being alone, like a truly masculine, fiery, individual spirit who likes to marry yourself. You take your water and unite it into your own fire, which allows you to create your own atmosphere, your own air, which is your own then Merkaba, your consciousness light body, that allows you to travel infinitely, anywhere, everywhere. Because now you're never going to be restricted to any world, because you're not selling your soul to that world. You're not seeking validation in that world, because the validation that you get from anyone, anywhere, is always going to be limited by their awareness, which means that you're purposefully limiting yourself the moment you're looking for things. So that's why those other tablets and stuff, when they're saying that I'm telling you to seek wisdom and other stuff, that's lost. That's obviously not me. They're lying. That's a light white supremacist mentality of how they need to seek wisdom in North and South America and create the new world by stealing everything from Native Americans and Egyptians. Using Egyptian stuff to steal everything from Mesopotamia and Native America. If you see your brother in need, take that which you have put aside and share it with him. Always follow your guidance on this, aka practice discernment. Don't cast pearls among swine. Don't be someone who makes super powerful psychedelics. Like you make awesome DMT, but then you're trying to give it to people who don't care about DMT. Just because you're like, but you'll meet God, you'll blast out of the simulation, you'll learn who you truly are, you'll travel infinite dimensions and actually be in touch with yourself so you'll never be lost again. If you're the one who cares enough to make it and put yourself in a certain situation, it's important not to project that too hard onto others. No one else cares enough about this thing to create it. So this is why it's so important to love being alone. And the more you love being alone, the more you'll love being with others. Because when you're alone, you are who you truly are. And you'll actually create from your individual spirit space. And then when you're doing that, when you're alone, now as you do that more over time, you're about to start meeting and be in resonance with spirits who do the same thing. So now you're not lost in being alone with spirits who don't like being alone. You're now alone with spirits who do like being alone. Because most people don't like being alone. So artists, introverts are powerful because they like being alone. Hopefully. You have to be an introvert who loves yourself. You can't be an introvert who's an introvert because no one wants to hang out with you or whatever. Like it has to be actually because you have things you want to do. You have an imagination you like to express, and you can only do that by yourself. That's the point of being a healthy introvert. Not trying to be some whack reaction introvert who's like, I'm alone because no one likes to be with me. I met too many introverts like that. Those are the lame ones. The cool introverts are the ones who are naturally like, hey, I like to spend time with people. I love people. I kind of get drained sometimes, and I know how to take time for myself and get into my creative bag. And those are generally just the artists, okay? Those are the creatives, all right? We create from our alone space. Our desire to express our individuality is who we are when we're alone. And then that naturally builds our collective. So we're only going to be happy, ultimately, with others if we're happy alone. This is how it works metaphysically, building elements wise. There are some who are in need as part of their life lesson. Yes, must come with their own understanding. So that's where, with everyone creating their own life and reality, one can easily get into the masculine bag of, well, forget them. Because if they were really about it, then they would be where I'm at. But that's the point of getting a little more balanced and not forcing things, but communicating and showing up. And honestly, it just really doesn't feel like, and that's the point of awareness. Like everyone creates their own life. But when you're a child with infinite power to create and you get hijacked by an adult who is consuming your power to create, that's the issue. That's the war. Like that is all of it. That's all of it. That's all of it right there. Is a spirit who's an adult consuming the creativity of a child. That's right what the whole European Freemasonic Disney Illuminati system is about. That's what every country in North and South and Central America is about. Harvesting indigenous women, harvesting indigenous children. That's what's going on with the kids at the border. So this is the warfare, is spirits who feel like they can't create infinitely alone. They don't feel like they can create alone. So they need to be all one by consuming other spirits who don't know how to create for themselves yet. And that's going to be a child. That's going to be a spirit who just created a body and they have a limited awareness. So this is the balance of how everything is teamwork. Nothing is just how it's supposed to be. There's no how it's supposed to be. That's so frustrating to me. Like if you see something wrong, you're supposed to change it, dude. You're really supposed to change it, dude. And that's how we're going to create new timelines, and you're just going to show up as a spirit. Man, these sounds are hilarious. I don't know if you can hear that. Frustrating. Because this is what it is. Again, it comes down to consumers and creators. And by default, we are all creating life. It's just that consumers create life by consuming the creations of creators. And then they create all these lies about how they were the original creators. And that's where all their creativity goes, into consuming the creations of others and then creating creations on top of that to make people think that they are the actual origin of that idea. That is all of white supremacy in a nutshell. Except to go even further, the technology that they're stealing, the indigenous peoples didn't even use it to be worship, yet the whack technology that Europeans are creating off of what they stole is all about worship us. So lost. There is a divine plan of giving and receiving for all of life. Sharing from guilt does not bring joy. Sharing when guided brings about great joy. A state of joy causes you to attract even more abundance. Seshat contributes her wisdom. My beloved Thoth has spoken well. I would add a few more things to consider. We are all sources of food for something. We all both give and receive life and nourishment. We are all sources of food for something. The Seshat sections in these tablets slap. Honestly, because that's everything I'm saying, consumer and creator. So you as a spirit, you are both the creator and the consumer. You are both the God and the devil. Like, God is a creator and the devil is a consumer. And the moment God creates life, God has to become the devil if God wants to experience itself. So this is why, like, the Bible is a story about an entity fighting itself, because it's just like all one individual and different aspects of one individual. And then people who are fighting themselves internally resonate with this story, all in that, some different degrees and spectrums, right? So the people who really feel like they're guilty of things are going to be the Christians who are like working super hard to convert others. And that's how the Americas were created. The people who are super guilty for all the murder and atrocities that they've already done feel like they need forgiveness from Jesus, and then are okay spreading genocide and more enslavement and atrocities across the new world in Jesus' name in order to then go to heaven because they feel so guilty about their sins from before doing more sins. So again, just religion is a logic that allows spirits to do what they want to do regardless. And then you just learn about how spirits move. Like, oh, well, why and how? And just ask questions. Seshat contributes her wisdom. My beloved Thoth has spoken well. I would add a few more things to consider. Yes, we are all sources of food for something cool. Consider this. A plant receives rain and nourishment from the earth. We receive the plant as we eat it. Perhaps the plant is food for animals, and they are also consumed. Humans are a source of food for thousands of parasites, bacteria, and viruses in every moment. Facts. This is nature. Creators and consumers. Let us take this into the realm of spirit. When humans exude negative energy, they become food for chaos energies to feast upon. This can be a trap, as the chaos energies stir up more strife in order to keep their food source growing. And the thing is, these chaos energies, they don't appear negative. So the thing is, when you as a human, you exude negative energy, this is magnetism. You're going to get positive energy. It's just the thing is, if you're feeling negative, whatever you feel like is going to make you positive is actually going to make you denser scientifically, because the highest vibration that you can possibly be is desirelessness, which is the closest thing to freedom. Freedom is the closest thing to desirelessness. Just freedom in general, freedom and desirelessness, spirit, detachment. So when you are negative and you're already bringing your vibration low, anything that comes in that you consume that makes you feel like you're going up is very physically not, because it's actually extra light. And then that's where, if that light is coming from a spirit or an entity who definitely has negative purposes or like some like negative intentions behind, then that light is actually going to bring you down even more. And that's like, I mean, perfect example would be drugs. People getting into drug addictions when like, I'm in a bad place, and then they start doing meth or heroin or just any other assortment of pharmaceutical drugs that I'm not going to name, because they make new pharmaceutical drugs for people to get hooked on every day, because this is a business, is manufacturing depression and manufacturing self-loathing so that capitalism can just keep functioning in the way that it does. Capitalism all relying on consuming the lives and resources that indigenous peoples have created, especially here in North, South, and Central America. All right, because we build Earth. We are Earth. We are all these things and none of these things, because we create these things to express ourselves. So rough. Yeah. And honestly, and you know that for a fact, it's not Thoth if he's not talking about indigenous cultures in some way. See, this is why Thoth is the European version of Tehuti, regardless. So, welcome to Tablet Talks with Tehuti. Yes. Tehuti. All right, we're not in here with a lisp, Thoth. Like, why you gotta make me put my tongue in between my teeth like that so much? Thoth. Thoth. That's really not too pleasant to say. Tehuti. Tehuti's fire. Come on, dude. White supremacy's funny. But that's that Aleister Crowley dude when he's colonizing my stuff is Tehuti. Putting out instead like, okay, I'll be Thoth. I'll be Thoth. I'll use my spells to make everyone support raping children. And now every time people watch movies and get into mysticism and tarot and read all these books on Egypt, they're just really going to be supporting pedophilia. I'm Thoth. Boo. Boo. Boo you, Aleister Crowley. I guess I need to do a Tablet Talks on his rendition of anything I put out as well. Like, he's put out stuff in my name, right? Or just like translations of my stuff. It's just, I don't know how lost I really want to get in him specifically. Yeah, so when you put out negative energy, it's easy for guys like Aleister Crowley or the Illuminati, the enlightened ones, to come in with all their light and fill you up with Jesus or some idea. But really, that idea is vibrating at a way lower frequency than you. And now you're brought down even deeper based on what you believe, because you open yourself up to that. So it's important, when you're like feeling negative, that's like you detaching from yourself. So the moment you detach from yourself, that's you not liking being alone. And now someone else can make you be alone with them and colonize your mind, enslave your brain. Beings of light are very attracted to humans when they are in a state of happiness and bliss. They warm themselves by the fire of your good energy. Happiness begets more happiness, right? Everyone desires company. So like misery needs company. That's a fact. Misery needs company. Happiness doesn't need company. Happiness just creates company. Happiness naturally leads to happy company. But happiness isn't always company. You're just like, you're good then. Like it's lit being alone. It's lit being alone. If you don't love yourself when you're alone, that's all the shadow work. Like, you got a lot of meditating to do, because that's just all the questions, right? Like, that's like most of the people who I interacted with in art school, like genuinely through college, like they're making art and interacting and hanging out from a space of not wanting to be alone. So it's like, it's rude, because it's like everyone is using each other to run away from themselves. And that's not nice. Like, that's not nice to the other person. Like, how am I supposed to respect you when you don't respect yourself? Because now, like, you don't respect yourself, and that means you definitely don't respect others, actually. Like, you may act like you do, but that's the Luciferian energy. That's Lucifer. That's using love and light to get what you want. So this is what spirits do. Like, they use light to get what they want. In general, we create bodies. We're using the ego to get what we want. We're using ourselves to get what we want. So it's all that stuff. And then that's our cycle. That's our internal water cycle. And then we create water cycles together. People who don't like themselves will then use what they wish they could feel about themselves to put onto you and like get what they want. But like, it's never authentic then. It's actually just Luciferian and manipulative. And it doesn't last because then you just see the truth. And the truth is the wisdom, the darkness from which that light is being created from. AKA their subconscious. Because you can't immediately pick up on like someone's subconscious the moment you interact with their consciousness. But the more time you spend with their consciousness, that consciousness shows you how their subconscious moves. And then it's like, oh, snap. Okay. Now I see how your subconscious moves and how you're creating life inside of yourself. And so many people hate their own lives, let alone feel like they're creating that. That people hate themselves so much, they would much rather feel like they're not creating it. Hence why the all one God thing is so big. The idea like, oh, okay, well, I'm not responsible for myself. This other thing made me. Thank God. Thank you for that. Because like I was totally not trying to take responsibility for any of my power. I would hate to take responsibility for my power. So please, higher power, take responsibility for me. Jesus, take the wheel and take this car off a cliff. Let's hope it flies. You're telling me it's going to fly? All right. Jesus, take the wheel, steer it off a cliff, and I believe you that it's going to fly. It's not going to tank into this whole ocean of my emotion to represent how I'm about to drown in my deep feelings of lostness. Beings of light are very attracted to humans when they're in a state of happiness and bliss. Cool. They warm themselves by the fire of your good energy, right? Love being alone, like I'm saying, then when everyone loves being alone together, it's only a good time. Because like you're not getting lost in being all one. Everyone's naturally being all one based on how they're being alone. They're not being all one without being alone. That's how you get weaponized. That's how you get manipulated by entities who do love being alone. Entities who will sit behind closed doors and methodically put all of their awareness into manipulating the environment so that the world that you're all one in only benefits them. That's what colonialism is about. Spirits who desire to connect, but now they have to do it at the whim of spirits who love being alone, which are the ones who manipulate the world in a much greater scale because they're way more in the fire energy versus being in the water energy. When spirits are in the water energy, joining the water realm, they're creating earth. So now you are the body. Whereas when you are the spirit in the fire energy in the water realm, you're the one creating the air that the earth is actually trickling out of. So all these spirits can only make their bodies based on how well they can communicate about the world around them. So that's where you as a spirit, if you love being alone in a world where it's all one, you are the air that can manipulate and communicate your imagination into the environment so everyone is all one underneath your ideas. That's how governments are built. There's this big time why people are manufactured to hate being alone and why meditation is not taught in any American schools. Emotional intelligence is not taught in any American schools. Like it's all about this. It's good to share happiness with a friend. When you are in a happy state, reach out to a friend who could use some uplifting words or energy. Whew. The storehouse need not be thought of as only a place for money. The storehouse of your energy is far more valuable. Right. Currency, money, currency, meh. Energy, kind of the same thing. We're talking about the C, the three. For with the right energy and with the right state of mind, much wealth of all things accumulates naturally. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You are infinitely individual and full on your own. You are whole on your own. You are air on your own. Infinitely abundant. An infinite expression of how your imaginations and feelings come together. And it's like, I'm not saying you are that air. It's just that's the expression of your nothingness. And that's always expanding because your nothingness is always expanding because you're just gaining greater awareness every day based on how you experience yourself. And then inspire yourself. There we go. Experience and inspire yourself. And it's like the ebb and flow of life. The contraction and expansion of the mind is to experience and inspire. Chapter 16. Pity the fool who resists knowledge. Wrong. People should resist knowledge. So I guess we're all fools here at Always Ascending Academy. Fine. Thoth is not a fool. Thoth is about knowledge. We'll let him not be a fool. We'll be fools over here. All right. Because Tehuti and all of the Soul Group squad and everyone who is affiliated, all of us as infinite individual spirits who are aware that we are creating life, regardless of if you're Soul Group or not, because you don't have to be. The fact that we're creating this planet and here together is lit. So it's all connected in some web. Some web. You're somewhere in the neighborhood of the friendly Spider-Man, bro. All right. This web connects everything. Spiders are out here working hard. We know as fools that wisdom is it, and wisdom is darkness. Knowledge is light. Knowledge is infinitely made up. All right. We know that you can just create infinite thoughts. You can make new thoughts whenever you want. But there is a finite pool of emotions that those thoughts are going to point at. You're not creating new emotions. We all feel the same emotions. It's just we have different thoughts to express that. That's the light. So the point of darkness is knowing that we are all connected by darkness. That's the wisdom. And then that's just based on like, okay, well, why are we all connected? Because we all connect with ourselves. And that's how we create life. Wisdom, true wisdom, is knowing that you create life based on how you connect and thus then communicate with yourself. That's taking the water into the air and making an earth out of it so that now we can all be earth together. So forget knowledge, no ledge, whatever. But hey, they're not fools. We'll be fools because we know that everything's made up and we don't get lost in what other people made up. We enjoy it and we love to bring what we make up together because life is one big art piece. But we're not about to get colonized. Knowledge is regarded by the fool as ignorance. Wrong. But hey, it's not, whatever. And the things that are profitable are to him hurtful. He liveth in death. It is therefore his food. Death is wisdom. Death is transformation. Death is knowing that you are using this body, which appears like it's not changing, to stabilize the way that you are changing. And you want to change. The point is that you have dreams you want to chase. You have visions that you would like to accomplish. You would like to bring heaven to earth. You would like to make your manifestations, make your visions a reality. You would like to bring them here. Like, that's the point of you having a body. Everyone knows, like, this is the human condition, you know? Like, if you're not a human if you don't have dreams. Everyone dreams. See, so this is where we can already see, just metaphysically, that we are always dreaming, that this physical world is a product of our dreams. And then when we're in the physical world, we are working to bring our dreams into reality here. And that this is all connected based on how we communicate with ourselves. It's a pretty awesome system that us as spirits have been setting up, and we continue to set up. Because it's all us. Everything is made up. So that's the knowledge. If you don't feel like participating, you can kill yourself. That's the death. That's your wisdom, right? Like, if you don't want to be lost in things that are made up, kill yourself. It's like, it's truly that easy. That's where you know then, like, oh, well, I don't want to kill myself. Okay, well, bet. Life is desire. All right. So you have visions that you would like to make happen in the world that you are limited to. Sounds lit. Let's go. Like, here we are. This is the point. So, yeah, shame on Nazis. Shame on white supremacists for working so hard, desiring to colonize and take over everything we can see, and making us think that our spirits are something that we can see because they desire to take over our spirits so hard, and that manifests as actually taking over everything that us as spirits have created, aka this planet. Thoth's commentary in modern English. A fool thinks she knows the truth, even when their own life is in disarray. Damn. It is as if she is so blinded by their own ego that they refuse to accept any other point of view. All right. I mean, that's oddly specific, but true. The fool suspects that the things that could help are harmful. She does not listen and rarely seeks counsel of the heart. She lives a lie. That lie is her sustenance, and it eats them alive. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, whatever. That speaks for itself. Seshat contributes her wisdom. I plead for you to enter a state of mercy when approaching someone who has this foolish type of personality. Very often, when one is so turned away from knowledge, it is from a sense of insecurity. Knowledge, bro, like insecurity or complete security. Like, it can literally, when someone comes to you with a book, okay, so you know yourself, all right, you know that you're an infinite spirit, you know that you're focused on figuring out your mystery, you're like, your true mystery is you figuring out who you are. So you created this life so that you can learn more about yourself and ground the way that you learn about yourself. And then that's where everyone that you meet is an extension of you, not literally at all. They're their own individual, but they're an extension of someone that your spirit has designated for you to meet. And they chose for you to interact as bodies. And now it's up to you as spirits in the bodies to carry these interactions further. So it's all communication. That's where, dreams, especially, we communicate in our dreams as well, even though we're also seemingly more individual. That's where it's like true astral realm freedom stuff. Why'd I just actually forget where I was? Let me take a hit, bro. Oh no. Wow. Right. See? Get all up in the air, take a hit, bring it back down to the torus. We're grounded with it now. Security. You know who you are. You're focused on your mystery. So people in your life are people that you're supposed to meet, and you're supposed to have true empathy with, knowing that they are an infinite individual just like you. And then from there, you communicate and make your art and do your thing. That's how I'm just saying I like to live life, and it's awesome. It's just problems are created when people get more logical from there, because then that's where they start to judge others and then impede on other people's freedom and start to feel like they need to do that and that and that and change someone else, do these things and blah, 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 and whatever. That's the point of Earth. That's the point of your body learning about itself. So everything is air. Everything is communicating. The spirit itself is air as external. So the feminine side of spirit is nothingness, if anything. And because that's where everything is being created from. And then the everything side of spirit is air. It is communication. It is the combination of fire and water. Earth is then our judgment, our logic of how we all individually communicate. And that's where we have the infinite details of life. Earth, the infinite details, all the Virgo stuff of life, all the infinite ways that light can communicate to build structures based in how it connects their imaginations. It's wild. I love life. So, boo, boo these tablets for not having me speak in this way, because this is how you'll like actually just really hammer in the awareness that you are infinitely free on your own. Again, like we like these tablets so far. Just, what Rebecca's put out, the secret keys to the Emerald tablets, just because it's like nice and grounded. It's good for people who are just focused on almost getting by day to day. It's not talking about cosmic creation like I am. Because the thing is, like, I love to talk about how people get by day to day. But the point is, like, the cosmic creation is a hyper detailed version of that, then. Or that is a hyper detailed version of cosmic creation. Cosmic creation is the simplest way. And then it trickles into all these infinite details of Virgo, Earth, light. Just true, mutable Earth, anything to ground infinity. And the way that air is communicated. So this is why like death is not a thing, because it's all communication. It's all based on how well you communicate with your own spirit. So if you communicate with your spirit well enough, you'll never die. Actually, as in like you'll never end. There's no end because end is an illusion. So if you think that you can die, you think that you can end, it would be because you think you are the body and this body of light must expire. Yeah, I mean like, but it's like, it's expiring in a way that is really just transforming, actually. So it's about how you transform it and with what consciousness you transform your body. And that's just what we're doing all the time. And then when you really have that awareness of knowing that all these bodies are just extension of your no body, whoa. Now you're like dimension hopping. Like now you're on some other stuff. All right. So the point of the spirit creating a body is to ground itself in a certain timeline so it can learn certain lessons in a more linear way. But if your body decides to communicate with your spirit enough and show that intention, you can get into that air and get into the circles and be like, yeah, but like everything's connected. All my bodies are alive. Let's go somewhere else. That just takes a communication and that awareness. Many who have a stubborn resistance to truth were influenced by false teachings in childhood. And just to make that make more sense, the fact that all of your bodies are connected by you means that they're all happening now. Like there's no past, there's no future. It's all now. You are the subconscious mind web that's connecting all of your creations, and you're consistently creating more creations. Now it's easy for you to get lost in thinking that you are the creation so much that someone else comes in and consumes you and uses you to create their own thing. And again, that's the colonialism. So, important to love being alone. And this idea of like a stubborn resistance to truth, like this is lost actually. So yeah, I did say shame on these tablets. Shame on these tablets right now, even. Because the idea of when you know yourself, okay, like I'm saying, this is how I just got on this whole tip. When you know yourself, someone else coming up with knowledge doesn't mean anything. So they're trying to act like they can judge you. Like, hey, you're not accepting our knowledge. Wow, you're so ignorant. And it's like, bro, I don't need to keep consuming things from the world. Like, people will love to just bring you a bunch of new things. And it's like all their story and all their intentions and their ideas. And be like, hey, like, consume this. You got to consume this. And it's like, bro, I don't need to do that. My spirit is letting me know I don't need to do that. Like that's not me. That is not what I came here to do. And then they can easily judge you like, oh, you're ignorant. You want to ignore this, you ignorant. And it's like, bro, I don't have time to be aware and consume everything that everyone's creating. People are creating a lot of crap because they're feeling like crap. And I don't feel like crap. And I know who I am. And that's where practicing discernment is key. Because I said all of that first, and now I'm saying this. And now we have the balance of people are in your life because your spirit put them there for a reason. And it was hyper communicated through air. So now you're experiencing that in earth. And you can ground that communication in a more practical way. Lit. That's nice. Or it's literally just people trying to get your attention. It's literally just people coming out with their own ideas and basically throwing you off your course and making you use your valuable time, your valuable soul, your water, your feelings to nurture their earth. So that's just where practice discernment in how much time and attention you give to others and what it is, basically. Because there's no ledge to knowledge. And it only benefits the other spirit for you to consume their knowledge if you truly know who you are. And when I say that, that's me and my Thoth, actually, bro. My bad. That was actually some real masculine spiritual ego stuff to say it only benefits. But you're benefiting the other person greatly. It can't only benefit. Yeah, that's comedy. Whatever, bro. Let's get back to this. It is important if someone comes up to you and they say, hey, I would like you to read my religion, and they're a friend of yours and you love them, yeah, definitely support your friends. You should do that. Anyone who's already in your network of web that has been set up organically, right? Naturally, because your spirit will do things naturally before things perhaps get more artificial. Because artificial intelligence is masculine energy and natural intelligence is feminine energy. So the spirit lives out the feminine energy first, 0 to 10, 10 to 20. Before then, when it starts to go more masculine in 20 to 30, it can actually then really be masculine and set up life 30 to 40. And that's when people are really supposed to be going at the artificial intelligence masculine energy, versus when they were younger, they were at the whim of the environment and what they had already set up for them to get nestled into the world. So that's the point of when you're a kid, you don't really have options, because it's all things and traumas and networks of situations that your spirit had already set up for you to get nestled into the world, basically. And then from there, you get more proactive based on what you had learned about yourself from those experiences. So it is, that's where if you have people who are truly with your web and you love them, basically this tablet says, whatever, listen to your heart. If it feels right, definitely, boom. But there's just no shortage of people, of spirits who will come to you hey, can you read this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you can you help me this? What can you do this? And it's just not sustainable. There's no shortage of people who will want to get in a relationship with you because they're telling you that you make them a better person. But guess what? They'll never be a better person. So this is where you have to know that love for yourself is the boundary. And others can love you, but if they don't love themselves, then they don't really love you in the way that is healthy. Because love is desire. So we all desire to be desired in that way. We all want to be loved. We all would love to be with people who love us. That's the idea of a family. That's why spirits create bodies and create life like this. And we're just finding our spirit families all the time based on who we vibe with, literally, so that we can create simulations in greater and greater levels. So if you already like feel that deeply, then definitely support. But it's easy to get thrown off of what you had already been creating and how your vibe is already coasting based on how other people want to coast on your vibe or use your vibe for their vibe. And that's the idea of a consumer spirit. That's Europeans coming over to North and South America and eating the vibes and building all these systems on consuming the vibrations of indigenous women. This is everything here. There's the point, cosmic creation. Like it all trickles down to one point, and then it's like we got the numbers and the elements, and then like the infinite details of life. But when you actually understand spirituality and understand spirituality, and you are correlated, properly communicated, and connected to your individual space in the cosmos, in the infinity of nothingness, then you don't really get lost. And you can see how no matter how detailed the Virgoian earthy light becomes in front of you, it's definitely clearly still connected to your nothingness, and you're good because you are so connected to whatever you've created to express yourself that you've got a tight circuit going. And that's what a Merkaba is, so that you can just be free anywhere, everywhere. We'll end it here. This is part 7 of episode Sexy 6, Sexy 6, and Tablet Talks, baby. I will see you in part 8 to infinity and beyond.